Hello, and we are live once again. If you're listening to us on the podcast, welcome. And if you are watching us on YouTube, welcome. We are here with the lovely Sophie. Sophie, how are you today?
Fabulous. How are you doing, Nikki?
Very well, very well. Now, I'm very excited to chat to you today. You're absolutely glowing. And I just wanted to find out, what's the secret of your glow? I mean, how did you come to, as in, how was life before mystery school and how is life now?
Oh my gosh, it's been such a wild glow up. It has been. So I was life activated in New Year's Day 2016. So we're coming up on 6 years. And in thinking about this chat, I was thinking about how can I frame this, and I thought maybe the best way to do it would be talk about the sort of biggest challenges that I was up against then and how that's changed just really quickly, because obviously you can get into the journey and how epic it can all be. But the main challenges that I was up against right around that time were basically like my own experience of mental illness, anxiety, depression. My parents had both had really, really big struggles, institutionalized throughout my childhood, that whole thing. So mental illness, and also the experience of growing up with alcoholism in my family. So having father, codependent mom, marrying into alcoholism, right? So anybody who grows up in addiction knows that the emotional coping mechanisms that you adopt are very predictable and they're so toxic. It poisons every relationship that you have, right? So those were kind of like the biggest things that were dictating how I operated in the world and what I thought about myself and how I related to myself and to other people, And with as far as the sort of mental illness piece, I had done therapy, we did meds, I was functioning, but not in joy, not in sort of full expression of who I could be, right? And when my first marriage ended in 2014, I started going to Al-Anon. I started doing 12-step work around those sort of emotional habits and codependencies and stuff that can happen when you have this context in your life, right? And those were both super helpful, right? They kept me alive. They kept me, I kept a job. I was a single mom. I had these I had to live my life, right? I had to be able to show up. But it wasn't the one analogy that I sometimes use is you have these kind of war wounds from just living, right? Everybody's got it. And then, the tools that I was using, the sort of therapy or 12-step work or whatever, it's almost like you're learning to walk again, but you're always going to walk with a limp, And the difference between that life and this life that I'm living today, if somebody was like, hey, this is where you're going to live, this is what your partnership's going to look like, this is what your job's going to be like in 2022, I've been like, you're out of your mind. That is impossible. That is beyond impossible, right? Because just, life activation, initiation, just the process of putting one foot in front of the other on this path for the last 6 years, doing the healing work, receiving those initiations, doing the Kabbalah Ascension program, huge. These are the things that helped me get down to the root causes of that soul pain and those patterns and those subconscious kind of mind loops that were dictating my relationships, that were dictating how I thought, how I felt inside, right? And now I can say, I'm not walking with a limp. I can run. I can fly. It is absolutely, I used to think oh man, my parents, bless them, good people, good hearts, but they were crazy, And so I was like, oh, of course I'm going to be crazy. I'm going to end up, institutionalized at some point in my life. That's just a given.
Yeah.
That's not my life.
No.
That's not my story, So that's kind of the quick and dirty. And now like what I have in my life because of a lot of hard work, a lot of, healing, a lot of like trust and following what this path can lay out for us. Like, I have so much joy. I have so much love in my life. I have clear, clean, beautiful, reciprocal relationships. I can smell codependency from like 5 miles away. I'm like, no, we don't do that. That's not how we operate, So we can go any direction with that, but that's kind of the main difference.
It's so fascinating because, you've pointed out there just some key points, because I know this will be inspirational to other single mothers out there who are struggling, who, with many different things, that there is another way. And putting your, that whole thing of putting your whole wellness first can obviously, as a mom, sometimes the negative ego can make it sound as though that you don't care about your children or you're not putting them first. But actually what you're showing and saying to us is that because of all this work, your family life is now a completely different, and you've given your children something that you didn't have.
Yes.
Which is fantastic.
It's beautiful. And it took time to like trust myself to say like, no, this is really important. Like, I need to take this time for myself. I need to go to this meditation. I need to go to this class. And not only was it not a selfish thing to do, but it was an incredible gift for like my son. My firstborn is 11 now, and he like understands the place of magic. He understands the place of self-care, and like he can see how it is to be safe in a relationship, with like that being an example. It's completely wild. And I really hope that people, especially single moms, it seems insurmountable. It seems like there's, you're kind of locked in a lot of ways with like, okay, I got to make this money. This is how I'm going to provide. This is how I'm going to spend my time. This is how I'm going to, take care of my people. Right.
Yeah.
And it feels like you don't have options. But sometimes the littlest step, that littlest bit of like self-care, self-nurture, especially, and we're not talking like bubble baths, we're talking like self-work.
Yeah.
Learning how to undo, the sort of like old scripts that are keeping you locked in, right? And sometimes the littlest choice to do something different will lead to like, who knows how much more. And then from there, who knows how much more. And then from there, and it just exponentially changes from there.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the way that you make it very clear that it's hard work, it's discipline.
Mm-hmm.
It's because I know a lot of people now, they expect just to, the quick pill fix, that kind of, but when we're talking about the path, we're talking about having tools, applying and using the discipline and the will to get here. So, that also is, my goodness, inspirational to your children, because they know, and to all children, I'm passionate about children, but they see, okay, this takes hard work, being in joy or being in happy or being in balance isn't a given. This is something that we work at.
And it matters every day. Like, it's not just like, okay, I did this one thing and now I'm done. No, every single day single day is about those practices, about growing, about okay, I've made it this far. Where's my next level? And that's what I love about this path, is it really is about your progress, because there is no end to it. And I could have said like, oh my God, this is like all I could ever ask for in my human life. Truly, I've gotten to that point where I can say like, this beautiful life, the gifts, the grace, all of that is like anything that I could have asked for. And now all that is ahead of me is expansion and service.
I love that.
Like, cool.
Oh my goodness, I love that. We're going to end on that because we're out of time. But oh my goodness, I definitely want to get you back. Please, I want to hear more. And so thank you so much. And we're sending you lots of love from across the pond.
And to you, thank you so much.
Take care. Goodbye, everyone.